sir. You're on mute, brother. Thomas. We have no audio with you.
Yeah, apparently the last thing I tried to do to prevent my audio from my microphone from diving didn't work. So
Yeah, sorry, man.
I just restarted all my audio backend stuff and nope. Okay. Yeah, I've had this really weird problem where my microphone volume, my microphone sensitivity keeps dropping. And I've gone into my Pulse Audio and my ALSA settings now and tweaked them, but it just keeps dropping.
Yeah, you are very quiet, actually, even now.
Even now?
Yeah.
How about, oh, that's adorable. How about now?
You could probably drop it just a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, how about now?
Perfect.
All right, next time we record, we'll have to check levels before. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, it's pretty standard fare, right? We do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Open Hour. And let me turn some slides on and see what we can do here. And see if my audio drops again. Because I think I've actually gone and made it worse. All right, so we're here for another Open Hour. As many of you noticed, last week, Janae announced that she was moving on. Big shout out to everything that she's done as the community manager since the acquisition. And with that said, we're gonna just keep plugging and plowing forward. So I want to start with the usual things, making sure that you all know there's lots of different places that you can follow the project. That if you want to see what's happening inside of SALT, we've got Twitch live streams, we've got LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Most of the action happens, I'm going to argue, on GitHub and Slack. That's where most of the day-to-day is. But of course, we've got things like Saltaire on YouTube and a lot of live streams on Twitch, which are pretty cool to watch. Agenda is pretty standard for an open hour. We're going to talk a little bit about SaltConf again because that's happening and that's coming. I'm going to hand that over to Chunga to cover. Surprise! But I'm sure he can handle that just fine.
Hey, thanks a lot, Tom. I am fully prepared.
Anytime.
SaltConf 21 is happening. Oh, your audio just dropped again.
I'll give it to you when we get there.
Oh, we're not going yet. Okay, got it. Just trying to keep that queue tight. Sorry, Tom. I'll just wait.
See, I'm letting you know now so that you've got a few moments to mentally prepare. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about SaltConf, and then we'll do a general update. I'm going to talk about one of the things that one of the drums I'm kind of beating right now for the project, as we're trying to figure out how to make certain things a bit higher focus in what we're doing. And yeah, we'll see if there's any open questions about SEPs as usual, and keep on moving. So the first thing that I want to talk about is first is a user-first development mindset. This is something that I've been talking to the internal teams about a lot. This is something I've mentioned a number of times in the past on open hours, and I just want to emphasize that I'm just going to keep bringing this up. One of the biggest problems that we have, and we hear this over and over and over and over again, I can't begin to emphasize how often we get this feedback that people come to SALT and they say, I don't know where to start, I don't know how to get going, or there are too many ways to get started with the project, or some people come and they say it was hard to install, or things of that nature. This is something that I feel like we've been struggling with as a project for many, many years. This was a hindrance raising funds. This is a hindrance getting more people to adopt Salt inside of VMware. This is almost universally cited by people as a reason why they choose other management platforms over Salt. And so I just want to reemphasize that there's a lot that we've been doing and a lot that we are doing and a lot that we're going to do to try and make that new user experience as smooth as possible, because the follow-on feedback that we get is incredibly important. And that is that when people do sit down and learn Salt, and when people do deploy Salt, when people do bake-offs between Salt and other tools, they always come back at the end and say Salt was easier, and Salt is easier to use, and Salt is easier to maintain my infrastructure. But we've got kind of this day one problem that we've got to solve. Outside of that, people love us. I can't tell you how much and how often we hear in a bake-off that after 1 week, they come back and say, yeah, after 1 to 2 weeks, they come back and say things like, Salt was in the bake-off because management made us just so that there was someone to bake off against. And we were surprised by the fact that after 2 weeks, our teams had gotten 2 to 3 times as much work done in Salt than any of the other big config players that we were working with. And that we have to overcome the perception that is there that Salt is difficult, because it isn't. And so we have the tools. We just need to land it and make sure that this is delivered and that people understand that Salt is easy. But to do it, there's just a few little day one issues that we need to clean up. And so again, this is something I'm going to keep emphasizing over and over again. I feel like this is one of the biggest things that's holding us back right now. All right, my plug is over. I will cede the stage to Chunga.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Sorry about the meeting last, or I guess, there was some meeting that was screwed up. I don't know if it was open hour or it was a virtual meetup or something that was screwed up as the result of the transition. Working with Anil and working with Tom and with Sage and Janae and all to make sure that doesn't happen again. With regard to SaltConf, yeah, as I said previously, SaltConf is happening November 3rd and 4th. Once again, it's a virtual event. I think you guys all know that. The theme is bigger, better, faster, stronger. It's a play on the whole Daft Punk thing because Daft Punk broke up and everybody loves Daft Punk, and including myself. The call for speakers is currently open at saltconf.com. We would love to get as many speakers as we could possibly get. Again, this one, as opposed to last year, this one is actually 2 days. We need 30 speakers is what we're looking for. The last time I checked was on Monday, and we have 13 so far. So that doesn't include a lot of the internals that we're going to ask to speak. But if anybody has the inclination to speak that has not already been tapped to be a moderator, if you're a moderator, you know who you are. And thank you very much to all of you for agreeing to be moderators. It's much appreciated. Your help is going to be invaluable with making sure that SaltConf is a success. If you are not a moderator, you would know that as well for the previous point. So if you have any desire to speak whatsoever, please raise your hand. Please step up. We would love to have you speak at SaltConf. Tom and I talked about this on the hacks. There is, in my opinion, virtually no better way to improve your career than speaking at conferences and showing everyone in your space that you are next level. It's invaluable to your career. It really, I can't stress that enough. So you're more than welcome to reach out to Tom, reach out to myself, reach out to Anil, and we'll get you on that path. We'd love to know what you'd like to speak about. And we'll kind of go through that, and I can answer any of the questions that you have, and we'll get you set up and get you going. Does anybody have any questions about that? If so, just unmute yourself and pop up and say, hey. No questions. Okay. Also, registration is open right now at saltconf.com. The goal here is to get to about 2,500. We haven't really been pushing registrations other than I believe one episode of the hacks, and we're already above 70. So that's a good sign considering we haven't done anything yet. However, that push is going to change. So if you come across anyone in your daily activities, your daily adventures that has an interest in attending SaltConf, again, the reminder here is that it's completely free, doesn't cost anybody anything to attend. However, you do have to register, so send them to saltconf.com. They can get signed up and register there. That's really about it. Oh, one more thing. The first 500 people to sign up to register, they get a gift box. The gift boxes are very cool. I think Janae showed you some of the stuff last week that will be going in the gift boxes. The first 1,000 people to show up get a very cool SaltConf t-shirt, which Janae also modeled last week if you were here. They're cool. They look great. I think they're the best looking ones that we've had. Not that I'm biased or anything. And that's really about it with regard to SaltConf so far. And again, a reminder, if any of you want to speak, we would love to have you just show up or send me a message and let me know. One last thing. We will be doing, this was the most popular part of SaltConf last year, and that is the demo jam. Some of you took part in that. The demo jam will be happening again. It'll be the last thing that we do before we wrap SaltConf. So it was so popular last year, it basically took everybody away from their different speaking tracks, and everywhere outside of the demo jam was more or less a ghost town. So we'll be doing that last this year. If you would like to take part in the demo jam, again, just reach out to me and let me know. And we're going to be looking for, I believe last year we had 9 different people, and it was a bit long, it was a bit lengthy. So this year we're just going to be doing 6. So if you'd like to take part, jump quick. I think it'd be again, similar to speaking, very good for you to do. Any questions at all? No? Very good. Obi-Wan, no questions for you? No? All right. Back to you, Tom.
So one of the questions that popped up in chat was, is there any room to speak about a particular issue? I definitely think we should speak about that issue a little later. So once we get to QA, we'll make sure to bring it up, issue dealing with Jinja 2 and 3.0. Support making breaking changes back in how salt states are rendered. Okay. So yeah, hey Chunka, do you know if there's still salt stack swag in the store, or if that was closed out?
No, there is still salt stack swag in the store. There's a lot of it, actually. We're going to be using some of it in our gift boxes and things like that, but we have lots of salt stack stuff. It's clearanced out. For those of you who have people in your network, or if you personally want to get your hands on some of that salt stack swag, we can do that really easy for you. We will be switching stores. The vendor will be changing at the end of November. Everything remains the same through SaltConf, but we're going to be switching stores at the end of November, and the remaining salt stack inventory will be transferred over to that store as well. So we're not just going to throw it away or send it to a bunch of people, in another country somewhere. We're going to keep that and make sure that people can get their hands on it if they want to. So.
Okay, sounds good. We updated you on the community manager last week. Chunga's avid involvement in this open hour only further emphasizes that we've got Chunga here. So we don't need to cover that again. I mean, unless you want to cover it. Chunga's the new community manager.
I am I'm the new community manager. Yeah, there you
go. Okay. This is just another thing that we like to emphasize on a regular basis. If you want to send a blog in, please do. So those blogs, they they can be on just about anything salt related. But more importantly, I'm a huge fan of any blogs that are introductory, any blogs that talk about how to begin to solve a specific problem with salt, how to get started with a specific feature with salt, how to just make life easier with salt. Those are some of the most valuable, and those are some of those assets that we need to make sure that we as a project have more of. And so I would love it if people could submit blog posts along those lines.
And I'll even beg. I'm begging you. I know that that they have to be written in Word, which I know is a massive, massive pain for you guys. And please know that that decision is not mine, and I'm so sorry that it has to be that way. But if you guys are so inclined, I'd really be damn grateful to get some blogs for you guys. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this before, but the ask to submit them in Word is just that that's the format that will be matched by the people who are maintaining the website. And so if you submit it in a format that will be matched by those who are maintaining the website, then that is our best way to maintain the integrity of the publication at this point. Okay, at this point, I'll just have an open question. Does anybody in here have any comments or questions about open SEPs? Or are there any SEPs on here that were not, any SEPs on here that, or that aren't on here that need to be brought up?
Can you hear me, Tom?
Yeah.
Is the one on there about key rotation there? Just trying to look.
Yeah, number 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our community members, he's not here, but he sees this as a really important issue for any large company that has a security department that's monitoring key rotation. He really feels that strongly that we need to have some way to rotate master keys. Just wonder if anybody else has looked at it and given input on that, or if anybody had thoughts.
Yeah, this is something that Daniel Wozniak has taken a little time with, and we want to make sure that we've got a really solid design in place before we commit to it. But I do agree that we should be able to rotate keys, and I mean that's something that should.
Hey, Tom, we lost your audio again. Your last was, I do agree.
Yeah, I do agree that we need to be able to rotate keys. But at the same time, this is the type of feature that is sensitive, and we need to be really careful about making sure that the way that it's rolled out is very well thought out. Okay, does anybody have any other questions, comments, arguments, or rebuttals about any SEPs? For the record, there's a few of these that, if I'm not mistaken, should be approaching getting closed out and finalized. So hopefully next time we have an open hour, we'll be able to talk about some of these that have been wrapped up. Some of these have been hanging out for a little longer than they need to.
Actually, I do have one question about that SEP at the bottom, re-adding 0.0. Do we know if we're doing that for silicon then? For major salt versions? I don't know if anyone in the core team could speak to whether we're doing that. Or if we're thinking down later down the road. Or maybe we don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The given that I think that this is still in draft format, there's a decent chance it won't hit the next release. But that's me shooting from the hip. Yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody's got answers to that one.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Are there any other? Let's cover.
Q&A.
Yeah, let's first cover the question that's in there. In a nutshell, it looks like Ginger 3.0 came out and decided to do do a little, how do I put this? Do a little Python 3.0ing on us. Does anybody want to describe this issue a little more?
I was just going to say, I think the word you were looking for, Tom, was shenanigans.
Yeah, this is definitely shenanigans. It really drives me nuts when people, I mean, we don't like making language changes. And we definitely do not want to mandate that users have to keep up with language changes. And so I kind of want to emphasize I feel very strongly about that. And I was unaware of this particular problem, and that this is definitely something that we need to look at and address. But at the same time, it only also emphasizes that for older versions, we should probably make sure that, again, in the requirements file, we're pinning to have something older than 3.0 as the version of Ginger 2, that it should be Ginger 2, not as it appears to be Ginger 3.
That's Ginger 2.3, Tom.
Yeah. I get that. It's Ginger 2 Mark 3. Every now and then, and I say, mostly as a joke, I see something and I go, man, maybe I should have picked Mako.
Oh, your audio started to drop again there, Tom.
Okay, that's it. This audio problem has gotten too far because it cut me off mid-joke.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Daniel from the SaltStack Formula community. I'm the one raising that particular issue because we get hit by this often and often because some distribution from running Rails distribution doesn't provide Jinja 2 to something anymore, like the Open System Blur. So it's hard for us in our CI to install older Jinja 2 package. So does someone understand what's going on with that issue? Because I am trying to debug a little to see what's going on, but honestly, I don't understand.
So I'm scrolling through this issue pretty quick to try and come up to speed because I have not looked at this before. Are we running into this, it looks like, on SUSE primarily?
On every distribution with Jinja 2 3.0.
So,
and more of distribution are using it.
Okay.
Well, I do know.
So just so we're clear, did they make the breaking change in version 2.3.0?
Yes, Jinja 2 3.0 is broken. Yes. So we in our CI, in our Docker images, we just install the older version when it's available. But some running release distribution doesn't have anymore the older version.
Is there an upstream bug with Jinja?
Well, I'm not sure. It's
So yeah, generally when we run into something like this, one of the first things we'd want to do is make an upstream bug with Jinja. Make sure that we understand if we can maintain a backwards compatibility path. If we can't maintain a backwards compatibility path, then we would need to pin on an older version. We need to figure out if there's a way to make sure that the rendering process will still work with an older version. Again, this is this is a pretty stark kind of rug pulling scenario. With that said, it's a major version change, and we can't go to another provider of a dependency and say, "How dare you make a version change?" But with that said, this definitely does look like something that needs to be addressed. Because again, this is going to break people's states, and breaking people's states is something that we definitely don't want to happen. So I guess that becomes the question: is we need to explore our options. Is there any way that we can update the code so that if we're running Ginger 3, that the rendering is still valid for older variables? Do we need to make sure that we're passing into a new API differently if that's the case? And the follow-on would be that we've got some comments in here from people who are asking, where's the right place to kind of dig into this? And this goes, unless the code's moved since I've looked at it, I haven't looked at it for a while. But I'm pretty sure that that's under utils templates, where we've got the Ginger import logic.
Yeah, I've tried to. I know that there's been some other Ginger tickets that have said, "Hey," I opened one after I noticed that when running certain commands, that there'll be like a deprecation log output that'll be spun out that says, "Hey, by the way, Ginger 3.1, this is not going to work anymore unless you change it," which I think is unrelated to the initial ticket. But yeah, there's some like Ginger 3.0 and 3.1 related things that collectively probably could be evaluated to see what we could do.
Okay. I will. I'll just take this back to Anil and make sure that this becomes a higher priority. Because yeah, this is something that breaks states, and we can't have that. State.
We'll look into our next planning meeting.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, just real quick, if that issue is resolved, I want to check in, and as I understand it, there may be a couple of people who want to do some demos or show some demos. David, Gareth, are you two of those folks that would like to do that today?
I can, yeah.
It's certainly not necessary. I just want to make sure you have the floor if that's something that you guys are wanting to do. A little bird told me that you guys had demos or something like that.
Well, we should plan that out for a specific open hour then, so that they can be properly prepared.
Understood. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
I was just gonna say I can plan to do it for the next one. It's mostly talk. Mostly, there's not really much to demo. It's just I could show something failing, and then with the fix not failing.
Yeah, and certainly not putting anybody on the spot here. I just wanted to make sure that you did have something. If not only you guys but anybody had something that they wanted to do, now would be the time.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll make sure that we've got Gareth. If you're the guy, I'll sync with you after. But if somebody ever wants to do a demo or something in open hour, please reach out to either myself or Chunga.
Yeah, it does remind me that this is I'm going to link to it in the chat, but this is the last open hour before support for version 3000 is end of life next week, which means Python 2 support from SaltProject is end of life after next week. So just want to put that reminder out there for those who are still running Python 2 in their environments.
Yeah, let me also throw in this has been almost 10 years in the making. When I started making Salt, I actually tried right out the gates, even though Python 3.1 was the current version of Python 3. I tried out the gates to write it pure Python 3, and I didn't want to use Python 2 at all. But I had to use Python 2 because there just weren't enough libraries, right, for Python 3 yet. And so it's one of those things where it's interesting to look back and say, I made a decision 10 years ago that is now resolved. Where we're able to move forward and just be on Python 3 finally, which is beyond exciting.
I honestly think there's got to be some kind of party, some kind of Python 2. Goodbye, Slog.
Yeah, definitely. Python 2 has served all of us quite well. And it's been, frankly, one of the most transformative technologies, I think, that have been released in the last 30 years. Python's a huge deal. And the move to Python 3, I think, is a massive improvement over Python 2. And at the same time, Python 2 was truly my first programming love. And despite the fact that I love and cannot think outside of Python 3 anymore, Python 2 is a huge deal. And any time where we see the death of supporting Python 2, I feel like it's a moment to step back and say, that's a big deal. And Guido did awesome things for us. All right. Thank you for bringing that up. Is there anything else that we should cover? Or should I release everyone?
During last week, we released Python 3 support for a native minion on Solaris 11.4, Spark, and Intel. So that's the first Python 3 minion for Solaris. We previously had them for previous week. We released for Solaris 10, which was a fun thing to try. But now we've got Tiamat-based Python 3.7.10 working on both Solaris 10 and Solaris 11.
Excellent.
Which I
Thank
think,
you, David.
I think, and David, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first time Python 3 is on those systems now with Salt?
With Salt, for example, on Solaris 11.4, the version of Python that comes with the OS is Python 3.4, which is long end of life. Using Tiamat, we're able to, it's the version of Python we use, and all the dependencies are self-contained. So we're able to put out 3.7.10, which has CVE fixes in it. And there's been many CVE fixes since 3.4. So it allows us to basically address security holes and stuff as we update and release new versions that may not be available on the native platforms, which is a great selling point for the Tiamat-based minions.
Well, one of the other things that we're excited about with Tiamat is the ability to better control the dependency chain, because we hope that being able to better control the dependency chain, we can avoid things like this Jinja issue, because then we'll be able to have control over what we're distributing. This is long. I mean, this is not a new problem in software, right? Is dependency issues. And this is also some of the reasons why newer programming languages like Go and Rust are all about distributing static binaries, is to overcome those dependency issues. And so I guess what I'm saying is I'm excited that we've got technology that's allowing us to begin to overcome more of those dependency issues. Hopefully we can, there's a few more things with Tiamat and Salt that we need to iron out. And Salt's a monster. It's a big project. And so moving forward, though, on most platforms, things are working quite smoothly. Okay, anything else anybody bring up over here? All right, then I'll let everybody go. Excellent time to check in with everybody and have another open hour. We'll see everybody in a week. Adios.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.